Listen to what Russia has to say about USAID and the Biden administration.
Political landscape in Kiev. Last week, a U.S. representative pointed to Justice Department participation in the so-called Raskolnik Ukrainian Orthodox Church. The schismatic Ukrainian Orthodox Church, and this was done in a very cynical way with no concern whatsoever for any democratic values. And these recognitions yet again demonstrated how the efforts of unprincipled officials for Ukraine were shaped to wage war against a political opponent. And a significant role in this was played, as it became clear, was played by the then head of CIA and the special advisor on freedom of faith, who not only turned a blind eye to egregious violations of the rights of believers and arrests of clergy and the seizure of churches in Ukraine, but they did everything possible to encourage these travesties. Furthermore, those in Washington turned to the Middle East and North Africa, compelling local Orthodox churches to recognize the illegitimate and non-canonical Ukrainian Orthodox Church. Now, we understand perfectly well that the funds of Biden's diplomacy were used for, including blackmail, pressure, extortion, and the list goes on, obsessed with the desire to destroy the canonical Ukrainian Orthodox Church and destroy the unity of Orthodox followers in Ukraine and Russia. They had no concern about the fact that their actions undermined freedom of speech in Ukraine. As you all remember, we repeatedly in this chamber drew the attention of the Council to the situation around the repressions against the Ukrainian Orthodoxy in Ukraine. In response, we heard merely old propaganda and mantras. And will you repeat them once again here, or can you summon the courage to at least voice concern about this information? And we welcome the fact that the Trump administration has taken power, allowed those experts who were stripped of opportunities to speak out. Now they can speak out because their assessments of the situation in Ukraine, including religious ones, ran counter to the Western views. The Vice President, J.D. Vance, publicly condemned the persecution of the church, and a number of Republicans in Congress demanded that an investigation begin into intervention of American structures in religion in Ukraine. We believe that this is very important, albeit belated turn of events. Mr. President, in the former patron of the White House and Ukrainian protégés, they were able to get away with everything, even the murders of Ukrainian citizens. Last week, thanks to former deputy of the Rada, Mr. Dubinsky, who was held, as we know, under detention, new details emerged about the deaths in torture chambers of the Ukrainian regime of the independent U.S. journalist Gonzalo Lira. In our statements, once again, we repeatedly drew attention of colleagues at the Security Council to his tragic death and highlighted the need to ensure that the Kiev regime respects human rights and fundamental freedoms, all in vain. This fell on death. You had no regard for the fate of this individual and tens of thousands of other political prisoners in Ukraine. And at that point, they could have been saved had the Biden administration done something at least to do so. As we can see from the correspondence of the late U.S. blogger Dubinsky, the security forces of Ukraine not only tortured the person, but they stole money from him while he was in detention after the receipt of $7,000 from them. The torture and the assaults only were heightened. The Ukrainian Registry of Judicial Decisions has decisions of the Zelenskyy Regional Court in Kharkov, dating January 2024, during a meeting of which Mr. Lira's lawyer requested that he brought under house arrest for medical reasons. But the Office of the Prosecutor, representatives of Ukrainian forces, and the others continued to claim that his life was not under threat. And literally weeks later, he perished because timely medical assistance was not provided to him as a result of the trauma and the beatings that he endured. All the documents attesting to to this is in existence. They exist. Distinguished colleagues, I wish to emphasize the following. Gonzalo Lira's life was related to criticism related to the Zelenskyy regime and Biden. This was objective material, and this is precisely why he was tormented to death.
The mainstream media, USAID, continuing the war, laundering the money. This is what the Biden administration has been doing. This is what we've been talking about. This is what we've been crying about for 4 years. It's now all coming to light. And USAID, it's only the tip of the iceberg of what's going on with Soros and all these people. This was the main arm internationally for the Democrats. And that's why they are kicking and screaming, and we're going to keep learning the new things. And they are afraid that as we cut, the government is going to probably be more efficient. So you're going to see a whole bunch of people trying to kick and scream to keep their important jobs. We can cut them out, bring in the good ones, and be efficient. It's what Elon did with X, or AKA Twitter, used to be. And we're all very grateful for that too. William Weeding reporting from Mustang Medic. If you want to support me financially to continue to do this full time and you value these stories, you can go to mustangmedicmedia.com right behind me, right underneath me. I almost did it perfect. Thank you for watching. Get ready for the next report. They're coming every day.